never seen this kind of love before.
The program you're about to watch contains stories of real people. Today, as you watch, expect to be inspired, transformed, and healed. Welcome to Peculiar Moments Global, where every moment is supernatural. Your love story is next.
I searched and searched and searched, no God like this.
I'm ORUZ Kennedy and I'm live on Peculiar Moments Global, and this is my love story, right? When I think of what God has done for me, there are so many things. They are new every morning. Like every morning there's a special testimony. But I'll share this one, right? So sometime in 2012, I was just a teenager, right? Who was having a problem with family, relatives, and all that. So home was really heated for me that period, and I decided to leave the house, right? So the only thing I left the house with that day was my phone. Yeah, my phone, and I didn't even go out with my charger. So I live somewhere around Woji, Port Harcourt, right? And the place I was moving towards was they call it the oil mill, in Port Harcourt. So it was getting really late by 9 p.m. So I decided to just sit somewhere by the side of the road. I didn't really care whether I was going to live or die or anything. I was just too frustrated to be concerned about life or death. Yeah, so I was there by the corner of the road, and a call came in. It was my pastor, and it was like, where are you? I heard you left the house. You've not been picking anybody's calls and all that. So as he was speaking, there was these vigilante guys around the area who heard the voices, right? And they started blowing their whistle that there's a thief around there, and it so happens that area there are shops where phones are sold and all that. So the vigilante started blowing the whistle. He came out with a machete and all that. I'm a teenager with a phone, short knicker and slippers. Nothing else was on me that was incriminating, But the guy, he took my phone, took my palms, and he held my waist and was just hitting me with the machete that he had caught a thief. He called other people and they put me on the side of the road. And this was somewhere towards like 10 p.m. Like the road was kind of empty on that street, kind of empty. But thankfully, lo and behold, as they were hitting me with the machete, and one even hit my head with the head of the belt, and I was bleeding. Yeah, they were just calling me a thief, and they said they had caught a thief. So thankfully, a passerby was like, "Waiting the boy do." They started narrating lies to the guy that I'm one of the thieves in that area, and they have finally caught me, and then go kill me and all that. But thankfully, as the conversations went on, more people came in, and questions were just flying left, right, and center. How can this boy be a thief and all that? So one person in particular was like, the guy looked at me and he was like, in my own narration, I mentioned that I was on a call when the vigilante blew the whistle and came to me, So he was like, if I was actually on a call, I should call the number of the person so that he can call and verify my story. And prior to that day, I've never had a reason to memorize my pastor's number. So I truthfully did not know my pastor's number. If I were to call it now, I know Sabi my pastor's number, But to the glory of God, as confusing as it seemed, I was literally counting my fingers trying to grasp his number, Like, to the glory of God, I called out the numbers, and the call went through, and my pastor picked. And he narrated exactly what I had been telling the people for like an hour. At this point I was bleeding. I was seated at the center of the road. Like, these guys were ready to machete me, So that day, whenever I remember that day, I know that I am reassured that indeed God loves me, honestly. Like, I still have a mark here from that day. This is the only thing that reminds me of that day. Besides this, there's no other wound, no other mark, no other thing on my body that that reminds me of that day. Just this mark here, right? So this is my love story. I was saved. So my pastor called my family members. Everybody drove down to that particular street, So, in fact, a police officer who was passing by that area stopped and arrested me. Yes, and my family members were like, this guy is innocent, The guy arrested me, he took me down to the police station. And then he said something, he said, I know you are innocent, but if I leave you there, those people will still do what they have in mind. I know you are innocent. Like, he didn't even hear my story. He said, I know you are innocent, but if I leave you there, so I had to arrest you and take you out of that place. Let's leave it here. Like, God loves me, So I'm a product of God's grace. I'm a product of God's love, undying love for me. So I don't know about you, but I'm sure that ORUZ, God loves you.
Do you remember how it felt when you found yourself in a deep mess? When all hope was lost and all doors seemed shut? When friends were few and tears replaced laughter? When the money was out and luck lingered? When sickness ravaged your body and you envied those who could sleep? When your words were few and all you could do was stare? When fear ravaged your heart and depression ate deep into your soul? Did you ever make it through? Did God turn it around for good? Let someone experience love, hope, joy, impetus for action, help through your story. Be loud about your victory and be someone's light today.
Search, no God like this.
Welcome back.
What if I told you I have no records with Guinness, but I do with Heineken? What if I told you I prefer walking like Johnny to walking like Chapman? See, I come from a land where we rarely drank Coke. We usually sniffed it. A land where 8 p.m. was never found in our clocks because we put 8 p.m. in bottles. I'm ORUZ Kennedy, and this is my rehab testimony. See, today I reflect on my origin. Back then when my star was diluted by origin, I tell you, you can't become a legend when your star is made of black. It won't glow because there's this stigma that follows you everywhere you go. Truth be told, anyone can be great because greatness lives within us. While some have it in their genes, I had mine in my gene, my roots and herbs. I tell you, gene can make a great man fall, especially the dry one. Falling a million times on my way from Happy's bar, I realized one is not always happy, even if they had a joy daddy at home. In my short time here, it has dawned on me that life is not always sweet. Sometimes it's alomo. Sometimes it is bitter. Indeed, I have tasted the bitter side of life from different bottles, and somehow I found comfort in them. So these days, when people look at me and congratulate me for my works, I simply bow my head, shed a tear or two, then I wipe my eyes because I was a few bottles from being crowned His Royal Highness. Drinking myself daily to stupor, my name became synonymous to liquor. Telling myself daily I'm a ruler, my life became ruled by Amarula. Living large in the city, still I remain king of the savannah. Lost in many jungles of self, still there was no ultimate search for me like Gouda, cause people thought I was their hero. But at the brink of being crowned dead king, grace found me. See, I've been an addict. Alcohol, weed, addict. Some did say, boy, this shit will knock you out. Indeed, like fireworks on a Christmas Eve, weed became my knockout. I was stuck in my own shadows and didn't know what to do until a wise man gave me a clue. He said, ORUZ, you can't influence society if you are far from sobriety. You can't influence society if you are far from sobriety. I'm ORUZ Kennedy, and this is my rehab.
I've never seen this kind of love before. I've never seen this kind of God before. Who I be where you love me? So tell you came to die for me on the cross. Yeah. Oh, I've searched and searched and searched, no God like this.
Do you remember how it felt when you found yourself in a deep mess? When all hope was lost and all doors seemed shut? When friends were few and tears replaced laughter? When the money was out and luck lingered? When sickness ravaged your body and you envied those who could sleep? When your words were few and all you could do was stare? When fear ravaged your heart and depression ate deep into your soul? Did you ever make it through? Did God turn it around for good? Let someone experience love, hope, joy, impetus for action, help through your story. Be loud about your victory and be someone's light today.
I've searched and searched and searched, no God like this.